Now joining me in the studio now are Knesset members Amir Ohana of the Likud party and Tamar Zandberg of Meretz to help us discuss the Elor Azaria case a little bit further. Now I'm just going to open this up. In your opinions, has the military appeals court made the right decision? Tamar, I'll start with you.
Well, I think it's not our place to rule the legal and justice issues. That has been very clearly declared by the court. This issue has become political, and I think what you hear now, after the verdict was clearly cut, and after the really harsh sayings by the judges, saying very clearly that this has been a violation of law, we hear many politicians go out and say, Elor Azaria is not a criminal, he's a hero. He shouldn't be sentenced, and if he was sentenced, he should be released by the president or the military chief of staff. I think this is irresponsible. I think this case went out of proportion totally in the last.
Is there any other case that is like this? Any other case that comes close? It doesn't. I don't believe there is.
Well, we had several cases throughout the years of the state of Israel, like the 300 Parashat Kav 300, the 300 line, when the Shin Bet officials actually killed the terrorists, not in the scene, but remotely from that, and they were pardoned. So I think this is why many Israelis don't understand the gap between, on the one hand, and this is something that our viewers should know, it was not just an innocent bystander that was shot. It was a terrorist that up until a few minutes before he was shot was stabbing and trying to killing Elor's friends. So why should he go to prison for such a long time? Now, indeed, the Supreme Court of the Appeals of the IDF accepted the fact that although it was a very serious charge of manslaughter, he didn't go for more than 18 months, which is a very light punishment comparing to the size of the magnitude of the charges.
That brings to me.
It's perfectly fine for the courts to do their job. We don't criticize that. But this is a case that has a tremendous amount of effect to Israel. So I think it will be good for the chief of staff to pardon Elor Azaria at least partially and send him back home to his family.
I think your comments just now bring up an important question: is that if he was given such a light sentence for what is essentially murder,
it's not murder. It's manslaughter.
Manslaughter, correct. For manslaughter, to get 18 months prison, could the argument be made that maybe they didn't want to give him such a hard sentence, but they had to because he was guilty in the eyes of the public long before the sentence even occurred?
I think politics penetrated into the court in this case. And I think it's very dangerous. I think we should all refrain from that. And I think that the sentence was, the verdict was very, very clear. The justice, the court said very sharply and very clearly that Elor Azaria is criminal. He shot against the law and against the IDF commands, and he should be punished, period. Now, making him a hero and turning this into a political question of how we should keep our security, how we should treat terrorism, this is not the case. This is not the right case. And I feel sorry for all of us that the Israeli society should be torn between right and left on an issue of clear rule of law.
But the fact is that it's not very clear.
It is clear. Israel does not, we don't have
18 months for manslaughter?
A sentence. We don't have that, and of course with no trial. And we cannot allow for people, civilians or soldiers, go out in wherever a terror is hitting or they see a terror attack and behave against the law and against IDF commands. This should not be.
I wish to oppose. I think on the contrary, the fact that the court was indeed very clear indicting and charging Elor with manslaughter, but gave him 18 months, is a message that It is unclear. It is unclear.
How can it be unclear?
Because
the
it's
verdict
18
is very
months. It's a
clear.
very light sentence, which means the court understands that there is a gap between.
There is no sign for
There
what
is
you
a
say
gap,
in the verdict. We read it together.
Is the numbers.
We set
I think
hours
18
in
months.
the studio.
This is the gap.
Yes, but
I think that the questions, unfortunately, that this leaves us is kind of the answer in and of itself, that this is this totally divisive situation where we won't really ever know just how the courts really felt about this,
No,
whether
we do
they
know, because
enjoyed,
the first-
whether they
the
enjoyed giving him
court
18 months
said
or wanted to give him more
the
or
court,
less.
the
or-
verdict was very clear. We heard it.
Right.
It is a light sentence. I don't know. I believe that it is because the court is part of everything that is happening, outside the court, and this is penetrating to the minds and hearts of the justice sitting in rule. But nevertheless, the verdict is very, very clear. I think we have to read it and see that this is a case when there is no questions about what happened, and that should lead to a punishment. Otherwise, the connection between a wrongdoing and a punishment, once you detach it, you send a very wrong message, not only to that soldier in line, but to all of us.
Any other cases of manslaughter would have ended with a
I'm
two-figure
very sorry. I'm so
numbers
sorry.
of prison time.
I think on that note, I'm apologize profusely. Unfortunately, we must move on. So
Thank you.
moving on. Thank you so much for both coming in again.
Thank you.